Welcome to Precision Golf. We're doing a putter fitting. Got some of the England internationals here, Harry Randall, Ben Earl, Ellis Genge and Luke Cowan-Dickey. We're going to start with Ellis, going through a full putter fitting, what we do here, look at his technique and what he's doing with his putter.
Or lack of technique.
Yeah. And hopefully find a better putter, or at least give him some tips to help him going along. If I can give you that. So this is the only tedious bit. What we have to do is we're going to get you set up with your putter against this block.
Yeah.
And then if you get into your posture for me, and then just stay nice and still, I'm going to come and steady the block off and just make sure it's nice and straight. Okay.
That's crazy.
Lovely. If I can borrow that, you can relax. So what you'll see on the big screen is we've actually captured those dots on the putter in line with the middle of the hole. So what that then allows us to do is record the information, start to get an idea of how your putter's returning to the ball itself, whether it's closed, open, where you're hitting it on the face. Probably more detail than you'd get from TrackMan.
Yeah, you'd like to
So
think
you
so,
can
yeah.
really dive into why possibly you're struggling on those uphill putts. And it might highlight a few other areas that you might then go, actually, yeah, that does happen to me on the golf course as well. Okay. So what we're doing is we're putting in some extra measurements here just to give the Quintet machine that extra data we need. Do you use a line on the ball when you putt, or do you just pop it straight down? And
Yeah, well, if I pick it up, and
Yeah.
clean it, then I'd use the line, but otherwise I just tend to...
go with it.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. These all have got a line on them, but all we have to make sure is that the three dots are facing the
right,
camera
so-
there. I'll pop the first one down just as it is, and if we do want to use the line going forward, we can. You can take as many practice putts as you want. It will only register once you hit the ball itself.
Right,
Perfect.
no practice.
Oh yeah, you can see the dots on the screen now.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Good.
Babby, that is...
Yeah, knock about, bro.
Right, and then what we get is loads and loads of data. We get things like your face angle, face rotation, your acceleration, stuff like this. I'll start to explain what it all means, but we're going to do roughly 5 putts, 6 putts.
Let's see it, baby.
We want to see what happens on an average sort of.
I'm telling you
few
now,
goes.
that come out nice, mate.
Yeah, don't change from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep doing that and you'll be fine. You can walk out with the putter you came in with.
No, that's not the point. That's not the point.
Okay, a little bit left that one.
Paul?
Well, you'll quickly learn that like equipment's always the one thing that lets us down in it. If we had the right gears, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, scratch you would be, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely always been a gear.
It's always been a gear problem.
Good. Nice roll again. Good job.
Mate, you're on fire at the minute.
Good
What
adjustment.
is going on?
Good adjustment.
I think you
that.
just need to play at Augusta. Mate.
No, you're better on Augusta than you are.
I told you,
sound
it's
like
the
you
course,
bad
boys.
on-
I come up to the standard of the course.
No, you're bad on quick greens. You smash it on this, mate.
Shirehampton, no way. But
No,
Augusta,
it's not a
perfect.
scratch, yeah.
Get this guy at the master, bro.
Nah.
A little bit slow, but not too bad. Would you say when you're playing out on the course, do you find that your putting may improve as you go along? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you start to get used to the pace a little bit.
Yeah.
Would you be someone who would go out on the putting green before you play, or are you just at
Yeah.
first tee and
It depends, honestly.
yeah?
Depends on the weather.
Yeah.
Literally what the rest of the gang are doing, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's all just clubs out the car and straight on the first tee,
Yeah.
I can understand that.
We last played together in Spain, and we couldn't wait to get out of the hotel, so we were on the green for about an hour.
Yeah.
It was the hardest green you've ever been on as well. It made you feel like
I said that, yeah, at Cameron.
it was like that. It was the straight part of the thing.
Perfect.
How many of the team are actually into golf? Is it quite
There's loads.
Yeah,
If we ever fall,
Proper
if everyone was
into it, probably half.
if everyone was like feeling all right body wise, you would easily get
yeah,
four or five.
three
falls.
quarters of the team, yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5 fall 3 times. Problem is, some boys, they're just so sensitive about their bodies.
Yeah,
they just don't let themselves play. Right?
Did the coaching staff mind? Is it one of those sports?
No, we're getting.
No,
if we're at a,
they encourage it, don't
resort, they'll encourage us to get out,
Yeah.
which is good. Certainly on days off and stuff. Yeah.
So don't injure them today, Tom.
Putting we should be alright.
If I injure you putting, I really have done a bad job. Right, should we have a look and we can go through some of the data?
Enlighten me.
So the hardest bit about putting and what people don't realise is that at 8 feet you have to be under a degree to even have a chance of the ball going in, and that's without factoring in reading the green conditions, so whether it's bobbly, things like this. So when people sort of think they should hold quite a lot of putts, your percentages are actually very, very low. Even PGA Tour standards are roughly around 10 feet, they're sort of 20%, and that's the best greens on the planet. So you're actually doing really well with your face angle, which is the number one key here. So what we can see, 0.45 is lit up green. So what that means is you were just under half a degree to the right, but that's well within the sort of zone we want to be to hold a putt. So actually most of your putts when we were going through it were really good. I think you had one, maybe two that just slightly went off. But
They're making me laugh, that's
why. We'll blame the
Always
audience.
us,
He was dead silent when he was putting, I swear.
But your face angle is generally pretty good. What we do see, so in this grey number in the bottom corner, that's your face angle at address. So what that means is where you're aiming just before you take away the putt itself.
Yeah.
It's slightly different to
I
when
correct
you finish.
it.
Yeah.
I find that happens when I hit a normal shot as well, not just when I'm putting.
Yeah, so your tendency is to aim just a tiny bit to the right. Again, it's not massive, but you then correct it slightly to the left. It was actually then when we saw the one that went a bit further left,
And then
it was a bit more of an overcorrection and you just did too much. So in what we'd love to do is get you aiming as good as possible. If that's where you are, that's not terrible, like I say, but if we can get that under a degree as well, it means that you don't have to manipulate the putter. That really helps. The second thing we tend to look at, or what Quintech's based on, is your face rotation. So that's how much the putter actually, sort of the toe turns or comes over. So being that you aim a little bit right, you've got a slightly higher rotation because you're trying to get the putter back to square. So technically you need that little bit of a higher rotation to make the ball go towards the hole. What we'd love to do is if we can get you aiming better and then reduce the rotation down.
aim better from the off as opposed to correcting it.
Yeah, because unfortunately, if you play golf every day, you probably get really good at it. You can allow for that correction, but unfortunately, that's not your sport at the moment. Maybe once you retire. But yeah, where you're playing rugby, things like this, you're only going to be able to maybe pick up the clubs a few times a week at best, and then being able to replicate that time and time again is quite difficult. But they're not bad numbers. Face angle's brilliant, your face rotation's pretty good, it's just a little bit high. The one that sticks out there, or a couple that stick out, is your attack angle. So when we're putting, we don't want the putter to come too steep into the ball itself. What can happen is that can cause like a sort of backspinny skid motion, and you're not really going to get a true roll. So when you get that uphill putt, your ball's not actually going to start sort of rolling the way
Yeah, I
you
find
want it
that
to.
everyone sort of keeps going and mine just stops.
Yeah, so
I would never have thought that.
out in sort
That
of
does make sense.
yeah.
It seems like everyone's almost got like topspin on it and mine just stops.
yeah, sort of backspin a little
Spinning,
bit. Yeah, out in sort of normal greens, normal circumstances, gravity will actually push the ball down slightly.
Okay.
So when you're resting that hollow, you need a little bit of launch to get you out and going. Now, fortunately, there's enough loft on your putter to sort of compensate for what you're doing.
Okay.
But if you've got on a slightly longer green where it's not, you're going to really struggle to get that launch, and that's where an uphill putt will feel really difficult for you.
Okay.
So that's something we can look at. Very simple things you can do. You can actually move the ball position forward slightly. So you can just about see in the greyed out area your feet.
Yeah.
You'll see the putter's actually a little bit closer to your right foot than your left. So you could actually look at moving the ball slightly forward. That would naturally help that tendency to come down and attack up. But the major issue of why you struggle is your acceleration.
Too much or not enough?
Yeah, it's far too much.
Is it?
Yeah. So when you were hitting those putts, it was a very sort of short, slow, methodical backswing, and then all the energy went through hitting it. Yeah. The problem with that, the best analogy I've ever heard was Phil Kenyon spoke about if you got in your car and went and someone said, right, there's lights a quarter of a mile away, and they said, right, we want you to go through those lights at 100 miles an hour. Is it easier to accelerate as hard as you can and try and hit 100 just at the point of the lights? Or is it easier to get up to 100 and
gradually
cruise?
build it?
Yeah, so what you're doing is hitting the accelerator, trying to steamroll through, and the problem is that can fluctuate up and down. And that's why sometimes you'll feel like actually you hit a really good putt, it gets there, the next one feels short, and maybe the next one after that could even feel like it goes too far past. But that's the biggest issue of why you may be struggling with that pace control, especially on the uphill putts.
I see.
Because your strike's actually brilliant, so our club twist in the bottom right, you're really in the centre of the putter. Everything around your lie angle and the way you're doing, you're delivering the putter really well, and we've got great forward roll, and the launch, like I say, is in a pretty good place. So the only thing that explains why you're struggling is that acceleration rate.
Too fast for it.
Yeah, so actually if you could fix that, you could probably make quite a few putters work, because the technique's not too bad. It's just that little bit. So what we've got to start to introduce is, can we get you extending the putter, going a little bit quicker on the way back, and then letting the energy transfer through.
Yeah, instead of like jabbing at it.
Yeah, and that will be the difference of when you get to the first hole, when you're playing, you'll have much more control over the distance, rather than having maybe 6 or 7 holes before you start to get used to it.
Work it out,
Yeah, so you can actually really dive into changing greens. So again, even if you were out in Spain and you're like, oh, actually we're going to play golf 2 days in a row, you could go, right, one day it's a little bit quicker, the next day maybe it rained overnight. You'll be able to adjust really quickly, rather than thinking, oh, it's taken me nearly half the round to really get used to it.
Right.
And yeah, that's the difference of all of a sudden you could drop maybe sort of 5-6 shots just through putting.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So
That would be great, wouldn't it?
That's not bad, mate.
So that's what we're going to look at. So what I'm going to let you do is I'm just going to let you hit a couple of putts with your putter still, and just get used to this idea of how we take it back and through. And then from there, we'll try a few different putters and we'll just see what works for you.
All right, so.
All make sense?
Yep.
Perfect.
So try to be more consistent the whole way through it.
Yeah, so what it
And
might
maybe-
be actually, if you take a slightly bigger backswing,
Yeah.
and then that will probably encourage you to feel like you've got to come a little bit slower on the way through. Yeah, so you see you still wanted to give it a little bit more energy, but you can see there you reduced it down.
What did he start at?
6.9.
So
They look
You need
slower.
to get this down to like,
What does it need to be? What's the golden
what
number?
does it need to be?
3?
1.5 would be
1.5, so you need to put it back quick, mate.
Yeah, your backswing's really
Mental
I think
slow.
Your backswing's so
So try to do the backswing same as the.
Yeah.
a bit quicker, yeah.
All the best, bud.
Thanks, buddy. Straight mind.
Yeah, really nice and straight. If anything, that felt like even slower on the way through. What's this?
4.9.
4.2. All right.
It's coming down. It's going the right way.
Your backswing's so slow.
So I imagine I
Too
suppose-
slow.
Way
I
too
don't
slow.
know.
My backswing's too slow.
Has to be.
So slow.
Yeah,
My backswing's too slow.
yeah. So if probably to explain it, if you were trying to throw a pass, at the moment you're sort of doing this, and then that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah. So that's what we want to try and get the habit of making it almost probably what is more of a natural movement for you, easy and free flowing.
Tempo, Ellis. Tempo.
Tempo, Ellis.
Tempo.
That's it. So even if this one goes a bit hard, just go back double speed. That's it. See, even though you sort of didn't get the ball going there, you actually created much more energy on the way back. And then that way our speed's coming down.
Yeah.
You just need to feel like you're taking a slightly longer
because you're going
backswing as you go
faster
through
way
it.
Okay.
So this one, I want you to feel like you're going to go back a little bit quicker, and you're going to take the putter twice the distance back.
Forward. Back.
That way, yeah.
Okay. Bloody hell.
Yeah, don't worry about the follow through. Think about that. That's it. See, now that had much more flow because the energy was here.
Oh,
There you go.
2.5.
And that's the thing, then you'll see the numbers now change to amber, so you're in a much better zone rather than those red numbers. We're trying to get close to green, but
That's what
actually,
you want.
I had a green on there before.
yeah, you're now in control of what you're doing.
That's what you want, mate.
That's good. Well done.
What's also quite interesting, if you notice, your attack angle's actually gone slightly up as well.
Is that good?
Yeah, because that's the difference of
roll.
that ball that's
That
going to go
stops the
roll
backspin.
rather than sort of skid and backspin. That's it. So even slightly faster on the way back, still that longer backswing. That's it. Good. So you're actually working much less harder to get the ball to the hole now.
To move, yeah.
Yeah.
1.8. Oh,
There you go.
Get in there, boys.
something's happening here, isn't it?
But the rotation's gone up.
He's doing all right. We'll see
Yeah,
him.
it's just a little bit of you're still adjusting.
We are
just
seeing
as you
improvement. He's
get
very
through it.
coachable.
Am I
isn't he,
going
our
like
Ellis?
there and round it as opposed to there and back through?
Yeah, it's one of those, because you're trying to control the speed so much,
I'm right. I just-
you're then like, oh, a little bit twitchy here, but that would take time. Actually really interesting, so your aim was brilliant there, and you returned it exactly the same. So even though the rotation was slightly high, it didn't cause you any problems. And this is where rotation's always been one of those things of, it doesn't give you a massive issue if you can repeat it.
Yeah, exactly. Which I can there.
Yeah, I mean, Tiger Woods had one of the highest rotations ever in putting.
And he wasn't bad.
Yeah, he was pretty good. So, but to see that acceleration rate drop down quite
5
a lot.
miles per hour, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a real difference in how you're going to control it. But what you notice is the ball is effectively rolling better, but you're not really
Well,
trying
it's
to
still
nail
got
it.
like energy when it's getting over the
Yeah.
clap as opposed to dying, like
Yeah.
my uphill putts.
Yeah, so that's the thing of then if you do that, and the great thing with putting is you can actually control the follow through a little bit more now. Because if you go a bit quick,
Further back.
you can actually just be like, right, I'll just control the tempo. If you don't go quick enough and where you're short, you have to go fast. So yeah, it's amazing if you watch golf on TV and you see those guys when, like, let's say they're chipping, they would never be like this. It's a very sort of flow to it.
All the way through, yeah.
Same with the good putters, there's much more flow. The bad ones, you can see it's a little bit
Jabby, yeah.
jabby. So especially when they're under pressure, that's when you start to see who's a good putter and who's maybe not such a good putter. But yeah, so that's a real incredible turnaround straight away within 4 putts. So what we can now start to do is just test a few different putters and see what you like, how it feels, and go from there. Is there anything that sort of sticks out? You haven't got to go for the fixed ones as well. You can actually
I'll have that one.
one of those.
Yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah, I love that.
That's the one Dickie picked up earlier, and I'll try that one.
Yeah, perfect. So
That's the newest one, isn't it?
yeah, so Lab have released their Oz, so a little bit firmer in the face, slight change of material.
Good for me or bad?
Not going to be bad as long as you control the pace, because that's the thing. Again, if you were sort of accelerating, you might get this sort of harsh hit off of there.
So more.
But yeah, again, it's going to actually teach you how to control your technique and what you're doing.
How about that with the F3?
So Lab, just to talk you, whilst the guys are here as well, because I'm sure you all want to have a look at these and have a
Yes, buzzer.
go. So Lab came up with, it's been around for a little bit. Seymour were probably the first company to do it, but Zero Torque Lab have really run with that, done some great advertising for what it does. So Zero Torque is essentially where the putter face actually sits directly up. Most of your putters, like yours, will sit like this, or possibly with some toe hang. So Zero Torque is essentially a putter that has no torque. It won't stop if you keep spinning it. Now, the thing why people like these and why they've been such a radical sensation for a lot of golfers is when you don't have any torque, when you actually do mishit it, you don't get as much deflection on the putter. So it makes you feel like you're actually putting quite well, especially if you're someone who mishits the ball a little bit. The only problem that I found with these can be that if you've got quite a high level of rotation, they can be a bit uncontrollable sometimes. Because there's nothing there to actually slow the putter down once it starts that movement, it tends to accelerate over a little bit.
Okay. So do you reckon I should have a different one? Or?
Well, I think it'd be good to test it and see, because it might be the case that actually the balance of the backswing might make you
Level
control
it
it
out,
more.
yeah.
So that's what we're going to look at. If it doesn't, then we know actually possibly it's not the best way to go for us.
So,
Okay.
Miles off it.
Oh, there's some green on there though.
Yeah, so you can still see the roll was pretty good, but interestingly, I mean, I'm going to give you a few so the acceleration, you can then get used
yeah,
to the
get
weight of the
used to the
putter.
weight of it.
It'd be interesting to see, because that's the first putt that we've really missed to the right.
And he's dialed in again.
Yeah,
He's back.
just needed one.
The Excel's still high though.
Excel's still high, mate. You're pulling it back too slow.
You went short back.
Is that slow
Short
again?
and slow back then.
Did I?
Yeah.
You want to go longer back, don't you?
So what you've got also here is a slightly heavier feeling putter.
It does feel heavier, yeah.
So that's where that acceleration rate is going to take a little bit longer because you're used to it.
Yeah.
You knew how to control it. So as soon as I said do this, you could react. Where this is a little bit heavier, you're trying to react, but you're still struggling a little bit to get used to it. It's one of those that over time it'd be okay. But actually, if we looked at where you were, your rotation rate isn't too high. You were still back where we were, the minus 64. So we've not seen a massive change, which is great.
Yeah.
Because that means that putter's not over rotating. Brilliant. Face angle's blue, so that's actually robotic.
Oh, really?
So that's as good as a machine
There's
could
blue
do.
on the one before as well,
Yeah.
wasn't there?
And your launch and everything's really good. And again, we're seeing that attack angle increase up slightly. You could probably still get away moving the ball a little bit closer to your left foot.
Even more?
Yeah, a little bit, just to really try and extend and get that going up.
I did think it was really close to my left. I'm severely dyspraxic, thanks for bringing it up.
That's right.
Only,
Change the line.
only hurts when I breathe.
You change the line.
No, I genuinely, even when
Getting a
the boys say to me, like, I think that's bang in the middle, but they're like, no, that's off your back.
Yeah, you're a little bit.
But for me, that feels like bang in the middle. So.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've always, when I've played golf, like people say
Further back.
put it forward,
Really?
I'm always to the back. It's
It's them, not us.
yeah. I like that. Yeah. So actually now you've got so much more energy to hit through.
And less small.
Robotic again, mate. You're
Yeah.
robotic on your face angle.
That
Am I a
went,
robot?
that went quicker.
Am I a robot?
Shaquille O'Neal or whatever. You only just froze.
Am I AI?
Oh, did that not feel quicker?
Yeah.
The ball went quicker, but you.
I know, it went down a mile per hour, yeah.
Yeah. So this is where it shows you that
perfect, mate.
your acceleration can decrease.
A lot
but
of
you
green on the right now.
Yeah, so launch, now if you look at your attack angle, 0.51, so you see how now you got
It's gone up.
Yeah.
Because that was further forward than my stance.
Yeah.
So now you're actually moving up with the ball and with the putter, so you're creating natural launch rather than almost tricking.
That's why it looks like it's moving faster.
Yeah, so it's rolling better.
As
it's
opposed to that
launching better.
backspin you were talking
Yeah.
about, wow, the drag.
Yeah, slightly dragging going through. So that's you using the putter better, making it more efficient. The only thing, like I say, it's that we'll keep an eye on just the rotation if it does.
But am I correct in that?
I mean, you're still doing really good face angles. So the number one
You're a
key
robot.
is if your face angle's good, you're going to hold putts. And you're going to start the ball on line. So it's all just down to green reading. So if you get that right.
Nice, Genji.
Yeah, good.
Great roll.
How's that feel, mate? How's the putter feel?
Robotic.
1.3. Boom.
There we go.
Hey, attack
We're in.
angle 1.59.
So,
See, what the right side's got all right.
It's on red now, yeah.
yeah, so what happened there is actually you increased your attack angle so much, you went a little bit too far the other way.
Overcompensated.
Yeah, and that's just going to be a little bit of getting used to the ball being forward. So I know it sounds stupid, but just moving it like that much is going to change.
Does
the
make that
angle.
much difference, though.
Yeah, so you're just going to have to find that perfect place. But
It's somewhere in between the two.
for most of us, 2.67 is a better place to be than in the lower ones.
You'd rather be
even
up
that.
than down, yeah.
Yeah, because getting enough launch is important. We don't want too much, but if you were playing like US greens all the time, we don't need that launch. But if you're playing a lot of UK golf,
Need it.
you need the launch.
You need the launch to get it
Yeah.
off the fluff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the
Fairway
thing.
metal out, buddy.
Yeah, it's why a lot of people, when they don't get the right launch, or if let's say you're in the fringe, they tend to hit it down. You see the ball sort of like jumps
Yeah,
and
it
skirts.
skips.
It's actually where if you can hit up, and
won't
get
do
through,
that.
it'll roll better. So you'll actually start to see it visually as well, rather than just what machines telling us. So you should notice quite a change on the golf.
I'm not robotic anymore, though.
I mean,
Close enough.
0.27 is close
That's
enough,
all right,
trust
is
me.
it?
Yeah, if you hit every putt at 0.27,
Be all right.
yeah, you're doing something else wrong in your golf if you're not playing
Really?
well. Yeah,
Okay.
because yeah,
Noted.
what I love is that speed control.
Yeah.
And
That's bang on.
Yeah, but again, if you notice the energy, the ball rolled really
Kept
well, didn't it?
going, yeah.
So you've got what would the machine is saying slow acceleration, but the ball's rolling more efficiently because you're using it in the right way.
What'd you say was bang on 1.8?
1.5 and under is good. So yeah, you can actually get away with being slightly decreasing to about 1.5
Really?
is the perfect place to be. So yeah, I mean if you're somewhere around 1.3, but anywhere again if you're under 2, that's
It's
pretty
all
good.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something for you to keep working on because
Yeah.
the putter's not going
And
to
that's
change too
just
much
bringing
now.
it back, yeah.
But as you started to adjust to the weight, you started to
Got
let
better,
the putter do
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
And that's what we really want from this. We want the putter to do the job for us.
yeah.
So
So what we're thinking about that putter, mate?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
What do you think? Try a different one?
Yeah,
or?
I think we'll go away from lab and we'll just see what something else does.
Sound, yeah.
But that was a really, really good representation of what those putters do and actually kept you in a really good place. So what we're going to go for is this Jailbird Mini. So it's taken off the cruiser line, so this is their sort of counterbalanced putter, a little bit longer. Idea around it, you get really good high MOI stabilisation. You've got the AI technology that Odyssey have really worked hard on the face. And we've got a plumber's neck, which I'm actually going to talk to you about a little bit more.
My dad's a plumber.
Yeah, so yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, I'll talk you through what that does. Odyssey actually call it a crank hosel, but I've always called it a plumber's neck because that's what's...
I prefer plumber's neck.
Yeah. So when we talk about neck style, essentially you'll have some few different necks. So like the lab's based on a straight in,
Yeah,
straight to
whereas
centre.
the ping one I had is the same as that. And
Yeah, similar to it, but yours is actually a slightly sort of double bend or a longer bend through. So what we actually get from this is where the shaft is first initially making contact with the sort of face itself. So we can see here before we get this bend off, the shaft is actually hitting slightly into the heel. Now what that creates is a little bit of toe hang. A lot of people think that actually it's much more to do with this bit, but actually the hosel will be the bit that makes it toe hang, face balance.
So you think that'll square it up a little bit on the way back?
It possibly could help slow down some of your rotation because we've got a bit of weight in the toe. It might just help you where you're coming through to just slow that down.
That's what I mean, yeah, stop it from coming around as much.
So that's what we're going to look to see. Does it make an impact? Does it give us something different and something that actually works? Or does it start to throw your face angle off and
do the opposite? Yeah.
Can you just tell me kind of how you're finding the experience so far? Is it what you thought it would be?
Enlightening. I actually feel like a much better putter than what I think my perception was, of definitely what the boys had of me. Find out I'm robotic on my face angle, which I take as a compliment. No, to be honest, it's actually hearing it from an expert like Tom is that it's making sense in my head, as opposed to usually I just thought I'm not hitting that hard enough or I'm not doing this, as opposed to like putting it further in my stance, getting a truer roll on the ball and stuff is making more sense to me. Whereas when you said about the ball getting like a lag, I see that happen, and everyone else's putt keeps rolling, mine just like almost as if it's spinning backwards. So it makes more sense hearing it from someone who obviously knows what they're on about, as opposed to me playing a guessing game.
Sure. So this will have a bit of a different feel to the other putter.
Oof. But can we just talk about 0.04? Can we just...
What's quite interesting though, what I've been keeping an eye on as well, when we came back to that face angle at address, when you had the Lab Oz, which has got the line right at the front, and also this Jailbird, which has got those 3 dots at the front, your aim has actually improved naturally compared to yours.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I look at that white line on the middle at the back and try to follow that through.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I think when you've got that little, I know it's only a small break.
Well, that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think how you're visually seeing that line or those dots is a key part of what we're seeing here, that now you've got the face straighter, you're not having to manipulate as much.
Yeah, so I'm getting less rotation.
Yeah, which is good. And it means, although your rotation is slightly higher based on your stroke, it's not getting out of control.
Yeah.
And that's what we really want to look for.
So now it's just that pace.
Yeah,
back
which
to the
again,
weight,
it's that
the
change
weight of it, yeah.
Oh no, that's too slow.
But it's dialed in, mine.
But you can actually see there, acceleration, you went a bit smoother, but you didn't have enough energy on the way
didn't
back.
go,
Yeah.
I need to go further back, don't I?
A little bit further back and just a bit more pace. You just got to be a bit more confident with that backswing of just feel like you're going to always try and hit it a bit further past. But yeah, we could see there wasn't a bad acceleration rate, but it had no energy.
Yeah.
And that just came from because you didn't create any on the way back, you almost just tried to maintain on the way through. So yeah, it just comes back to that whole scenario of create the energy. If you need to reduce it slightly, you can. But if you don't have the energy there, you're in trouble. But it's quite interesting to see that when we go to a lighter putter again.
Yeah, I've got to try control it more.
Got to try.
Whereas on the heavier ones, I just let it do the work.
Yeah, so that might actually lead us towards that lab is actually a better option for us. See the flow on that,
much better.
you can see much better. I didn't have to work as hard.
Nice Genge.
Acceleration better.
2.3, mate.
Yeah. And now the attack angle, by the way, is still really good. You're getting into the right place.
But
you're
face
attacking
angle.
up. I mean, 0.92. That's still got a very good chance of going in. So, like I say, you're not a robot. But what's really interesting, that's the first one I'd say, rotational wise.
That is the first one. It's the first one that ain't red, yeah.
It's come down a little bit, hasn't
Yeah.
it? So it's quite interesting that little bit extra toe weight in is just when you get the flow right,
Took that off,
just
yeah.
took a little bit of it off.
Right, this is going to be the best one.
So what we're saying, if you roll this onto the black dot, that putt is yours.
It could be.
Okay.
Tom still thinks that the Oz is the answer at the moment due to the weight.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, with this technique, the control of the pace, there's going to be some good options.
Putt, bud.
Yeah, really good control. And actually quite interesting there, the rotation then slightly increased again. So it does say that either putter, it's more of that's your natural motion.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, so
like
even
Tiger
though
Woods, you said.
Yeah, so even though we're trying to... Now we could go...
Highest rotation out of all the
He
pros.
draws his
yet.
putts, and that's what he said. He tries to draw his putts.
Yeah, I mean, I think when they actually measured him on the machine, he was somewhere around 2 to 3 degrees right, biased. And then he would just let it rotate through.
Yeah.
But again, he just got used to it. So everyone's different.
And he's an animal on the
It
green,
doesn't...
He's an animal, bro.
It doesn't
Never
cause
missed.
you too many issues, but what I really like is that you're aiming better, so over time you won't manipulate as much.
Yeah.
So technically speaking, the more you play, the better you'll get, because you won't have to draw it in. You
Yeah.
won't feel like you're aiming to the right and turn over.
Bring
You're
it
aiming
back
straight,
round.
and then you can control the face.
Yeah.
But it definitely would say lean towards actually that heavier Oz putter was easier for you to get the motion, almost let the putter do the work.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try one more that we can make heavier again.
Nice.
And see where we go from there, and then you can tell me what you think out of those sort of three options.
All right,
what you
same.
like. Right, so what we've got here, company called Even Roll, it's a US-based company. This is their EV 5.1, so again I've gone for the line on top, not much going on in the back. What they developed was a sort of more efficient, truer ball roll off a mist strike. So where these lines here on the putter, wherever you hit it on the face, it's meant to roll as efficiently as possible. It allows you to be a little bit less accurate, but still get the same result. Your strike's not been too bad, so I'm not essentially looking for that. What I'm looking at is a little bit heavier, a bit more weight. Does it start to feel a bit more comfortable like the Oz did? And then we can see, is it better, along with that little bit of a plumber's neck style again.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Let's switch again.
Yeah.
Nice roll.
Much better control. Yeah, there we go. So we're back down to 1.8, which is great. And then we can just check as we dial into the aim. Quite interesting there again with that little bit of
Went right.
sort of putter holding it open. It went a little bit to the right, so we'll just keep an eye on that.
Overcompensated.
Yeah. See, that's the only good thing about sort of that zero torque of it. I think it does a lot of the work for you, and you almost just trust it and just you will let the
it
putter
go,
flow.
yeah.
Whereas anything that's slightly less balanced, I think you start to get maybe in your own head a little bit of what you need to do.
Well, this one should go straight in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, let's sit there.
First one right, second one left.
That's it. And then just keep that acceleration, so back, better.
Just like that.
Yeah. So much better flow to the stroke now though, which is great.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah.
More even numbers, isn't it? But
Yeah, really, really good. But yeah, definitely easier to keep the acceleration a little bit lower with the heavier putter.
Yeah.
So it does make sense to go down that route. We'll have one more with this. But I'd probably say, all in all, that Oz is
yeah, best suited.
the best suited for you. Good. Yeah. So what we're really seeing is much better control of the putter now. So when you walked in, it was always that change in pace.
Jab,
Like you had
yeah.
one that went well, then slow, quick.
But they're all around 3 at the moment.
Yeah, they're all sort of starting to be a bit more consistent. So it shows actually that in the space of an hour or so, you've improved that. A few weeks doing it, you're only going to get better, all things considered. So, but yeah, I'd say based on the data and what you're doing, even though the
He's going for the
rotation's
Oz.
not really changed, 1.8 is 1.8 is 1.8. 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 1.8 is The odds seemed to work really well with the weight and what you did with the aim and everything. Numbers wise, as you've improved your attack angle, the launch has been good as well. So yeah, we can't really fault what you're doing there.
No.
Right, so yeah, summarising on what we did, ended up with the Lab Golf Oz 1. I just found that was really sort of a nice weight, able to control the acceleration better, which was actually the key point that we looked at today of how to control the pace of the putts and get the ball rolling more efficiently. You felt like it was a better roll, working on your attack angle as well. All of a sudden we started to get a much more genuine launch number. So yeah, everything that we need to get those uphill putts to the hole and yeah, start improving those scores and giving you a better chance no matter what the pace of the green is.
Five to six shots better now.
Yeah.
Already done.
It looks that way though, doesn't it?
Yeah, we'll have to take
It
those
looks
shots
that
off
way.
you now.
Yeah, you
Thank you very
look
much.
after that, Oz, mate.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.